We'll have the invocation and pledge. If everyone would please stand. Please bow your head. Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight to do county business, please give us the wisdom and the guidance we need to make the proper decisions to fulfill your will. Please give us all the help in the time that we're seeing with the health of loved ones and across this country with COVID and all the interventions needed. Please provide security amongst all of us and wrap your arms around all the families that are suffering with all the trials and tribulations that are occurring in this great nation, and especially here in Newberry County. And to show unity within all of us, could we all join together saying the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, do we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
We do.
Motion by Mr. Reader, second by Mr. Scurry. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda as it currently is presented?
None.
None? None? Tony, none?
None.
Mary? Where is Mary?
Says she's holding in Zoom.
There she is. All right, Mary, can you hear us now?
Give it a second, it's still connecting.
Y'all bear with us. We want her to be able to. Ms. Mary?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
I sure can.
All right, for the purpose of our policy, we said that when we were absent, we would state our reason, and I think you had sent me an email earlier saying that you were sick and did not feel like being here or exposing us to what you may personally have. So is that pretty much a correct assessment?
That is correct. I've had a fever, and I feel like I may be could pass something on. So
All right, well, thank you for joining us via Zoom.
I don't think we adopted it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented then?
Yes.
Second, okay, all in favor? Mary?
yes.
All right, thank you. At this time, employee recognition, and I will say this is one of the things that gives us the greatest pleasure that possibly could be, is recognizing our employees who are dedicated, committed, and serve this county, not only as employees, but to the citizens of this county, provide a great service. So, recognition tonight, we have quite a few. Allison Jenkins, probate. Not here. Amber Beza, Sheriff's Office, 5 years. Come on up. Congratulations, and thank you for serving you. You just waited here for a brother who Betty F. Bolware, 10 years. And that's the treasurer's office? Yes. All the money comes in.
Yes.
Go Whitmire.
Justice C. Alloway, Sheriff's Office, 10 years. Maybe working, okay. Lisa F. Davis, Sheriff's Office, 15 years. Thank you for your service, greatly appreciate it. Teresa K. Evans, and that's with the Sheriff's Office also, 15 years.
Another Whitman.
Another one?
Another Whitman.
Hey, I tell you what, if I talk out with thank you for your service, appreciate it. Wesley D. Blackburn, 5 years. And that is in the Sheriff's Office also. Must be working. All right. Sure on that. Thank y'all again so much for serving the citizens of Newberry County. That's a total of 65 years of service to this county. We appreciate you. All right, public appearances. Billy Morgan, Deputy Director of the Workforce Development. If you please come to the podium. Thank y'all again for coming and taking the time out.
All right, thank you all for having me today. I'm here today. We are trying to get an appointment for the Upper Savannah Workforce Board. The Workforce Board is, for Upper Savannah, is Greenwood, Abbeville, McCormick, Edgefield, Saluda, Newberry, and Lawrence. I was just here a couple of months ago to get somebody approved for the board. That person got promoted and moved to a new position with the company, and they're in Anderson, Oconee, and Pickens. So his replacement is Stephen Taylor, who used to be in Economic Development in Abbeville County. And his job now is working with Western Carolina Telephone in the same region that all of our 7 counties, including Newberry. So he's interacting with all the businesses. They're putting fiber in Newberry. And we actually have Western Carolina Fiber at our SC Works office here, beside Piedmont Tech in that center over there. So he does the same job that Max did. Max was previously appointed, and he got transferred. So Stephen's here, and because he worked in economic development, I contacted Rick Farmer to let him know. Rick was like, I need to talk to him, make sure he's not recruiting businesses from, but he's no longer in the economic development role. He's working with Western Carolina Telephone, so.
We're not laughing at you, the cat's attacking our council lady.
But anyway, for those of you that don't know what SC Works does, the last time I briefed a little bit, but we work with employers to help them find workers, which has been a challenge. We actually had a job fair here in Newberry in August. We had 27 employers. We only had 57 job seekers to come to the job fair, so 2 per employer. We had a job fair today for our 7-county region, but it was at Piedmont Tech in Greenwood. We had 57 employers, and about 8 of those were from Newberry County, and they come up there to assist, to help with the job fair, try to find some candidates. And most of them that I talked to said they think they found some, so we'll see. As long as they don't get ghosted. A lot of times they say they're going to come in for an interview and they don't even show up. So it's a challenging time in workforce. But anyway, I'm really here today just to get the appointment for Stephen Taylor. Stephen Taylor, he's been in economic development in Abbeville and in Clinton in Lawrence County. He was there for a while. Then he went back to Abbeville, and now he's working with Western Carolina Telephone.
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions for Billy? We will make that nomination when we have appointments later on our agenda, if that's okay with council.
I do have a question. How many are on the board?
Yes.
We have 20.
20 members of the board?
Uh-huh.
And,
And 3 of those are from Newberry.
okay, that was going to be my next question, because I was
curious as to how many residents
Yeah, like we
had
have
actually on the
3
board.
for Newberry, we have 3 for Lawrence, 3 for Greenwood, and we have just a couple from some of the smaller counties.
Is he a regional appointment, or is he representing Newberry County in this appointment?
Newberry County.
And I don't mean,
And private business for Newberry, because he's actually the one that's tasked with going to talk to all the employers here to find out what their needs are as far as infrastructure with the internet and stuff. So, and he really knows a lot about that because he worked in economic development. So all the jargon that comes with stuff employers need, he understands, so.
I guess my question, and probably some other people sitting on this council, if we're making an appointment for Newberry County and they're not from Newberry County, kind of explain why that is. I mean, I know you
Yes.
said he works with
That's
Newberry
the big
County
one.
people, but.
Well, sometimes we can't get anybody else to do it. We contact other people in Newberry and try to get them to be on it. They're not interested. Sometimes we have to try 8 or 10 people to get one person, so,
It is a volunteer thing, so it's
It
not,
is.
we're not paid, so it's hard to
yeah,
get.
that's
people.
right. And we have, and our board's made up of government, private business, the education system, and, so it's, we have to balance that as well.
Right. Where do they meet?
We've been meeting on Zoom, we're doing a lot like this, but we did have our first in-person board meeting again 2 months ago. We only meet like 6 times a year, and normally it's at Upper Savannah at our office in Greenwood. And because Greenwood's kind of centrally located to all the counties around us. But we do, even before COVID, we offered a call-in or a Zoom type avenue for those people to meet. So it's just like you, it's important that you have as many people present as possible. And sometimes late at night, people didn't want to drive at night, so we moved our meeting up to 4. Them moving it up to 4 meant some people were having to do it while they were at work, and some employers didn't want them to do it at work. So it's been a challenge, but that's why we offer the different ways. You can call in, Zoom, or come in person.
Mr. Chairman, just one other question. Mr. Morgan, who are the 3 Newberry residents that are?
I didn't bring the list with me, so I don't know them just off my head. I can email it to you. Yeah.
I was just curious.
We had, I know Camilla Hagler was there. She was with some company here. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head.
Other questions, other comments? All right. Thank you for taking your time out to
Okay.
come and at least present what you have for us tonight. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is it okay with council, we just make that appointment at the appointment time? All right, ordinance number 102421, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the County of Newberry adopted June 20, 2016, so as to amend the zoning map, acting on a request to amend the official zoning map established, codified in Chapter 153 of the County of Newberry Code of Ordinances, so as to rezone one real estate parcel totaling 8.99 acres designated as TMS parcel number 523-18 from RS Single Family Residential to R2 Rural. This is the second reading. Do we have a motion to be the second reading? Motion by Mr. Reader, second by Mr. Shealy. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of this being second reading? Well, let me ask, Katie, anything changed? Okay, all in favor? It is unanimous. Mary?
Yes.
Yes. All right, number 6, ordinance number 10-25-21, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance to the County of Newberry adopted June 20, 2016, so as to amend the zoning map, acting on a request to amend the official zoning map established, codified in Chapter 153 of the County of Newberry Code of Ordinances, so as to rezone 2 real estate parcels totaling 13.38 acres designated as TMS parcel number 27-13-44 and 27-13-47 from RS Single Residential to R2. This is second reading. Do we have a motion to be second reading? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Scurry. Katie, any changes on this one? Nothing. All right, discussion. I do know this was one that had a little discussion last time. We have the personal appearance sheet. Did anybody sign up on the agenda? Okay. Thank you. All right, we got 6 people that want to sign up. I'm not sure what each one of them are. Do y'all want to wait for this for public appearances? You want to hear them before the board meeting, before the vote?
Here before the vote. I'd like to hear before.
All right, we have Danielle Hemsey. I'm thinking that's what you want to speak to? Okay, Daniel and Dan, all right.
Yes.
That's number 1 and number 2.
Well, thank you all again for hearing us on this matter. I'd like to just start out again by introducing myself. I'm Dan Swenson. I went to Clemson University and studied agriculture economics and agribusiness management. And Danielle and I own a cattle farm in Newberry County and are proud members of the agriculture community within Silver Street and the Newberry County. We run cow-calf and stocker cattle on our farm, and have always, personally, I have always supported the rights of agriculture and ag producers within our county and across the nation. With that being said, with this particular parcel, I personally am a homeowner right next to it and adamantly disapprove of the rezoning of this parcel. And the immediate disapproval is noise, light, smell, visual, and water pollution right in our general vicinity. The long-term effects of rezoning into agriculture within our community is that whoever may own the land here or thereafter over the next 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, can, once it's zoned agriculture, really has limitless uses. Anything from a pawn shop to a rock quarry can be deemed agriculture and be put into our community. And that really wouldn't be beneficial or congruent with the values and how our community is set up. This piece of land was set up in our community and added to our community because it's adjoining and it's the lead-in for all of our properties. And on a map, you can tell it really leads in and is a part of our community, and that's why it was zoned residential to eventually develop. It hasn't been in agriculture for decades upon decades. My professional opinion on the matter, looking at it, it's never been graded, it's never been smooth. There's not much native grasses, there's not much grasses, period, with sporadic trees. It was cut over, that was stumped and set aside to be bush hogged until residential development came to be. Some of the land surrounding it that is agriculture is across the road, and that's perfectly fine. It's not a direct part of our community, and it's all in timber, which I would call passive agriculture, and it's a long-term investment by timber investors, and that's totally fine, but it is across the road, and it's not a part of our adjacent land and communities in the Hickory Bay and Cypress Point subdivisions. Myself and my neighbors have put together some stuff, some petition stuff that Danielle's going to go over, and in recognition, time is our most valuable asset. I thank you all so much for listening to us on this matter, and I'm going to turn it over to her.
Hi, how are you guys? And Miss Mary. I did put together a couple of things, and yes, Dan is going to hand them out. And I just want to, I promise it will be quick. I know it looks intrusive, but it will be quick. At the last meeting, we were all told, and so was Ms. Wertz in zoning, that the community was in support and excited about what Ms. Stephanie was doing with the property, and we are here tonight to tell you that that was not true. With the presence of myself, Dan, 2 other neighbors, and I also have the petition you're holding right now that has 21 signatures in total between the Hickory Bay and Cypress Point subdivision. 8 of those signatures are all people that own property in the Hickory Bay subdivision. 15 of them are in the Cypress Point subdivision. And if you're trying to do the math, some people own property in both that have signed this petition. So altogether, 21 signatures, it's 12 households in total, and that was just what we could get in the short amount of time from the last meeting that you guys requested from us to hear other people's perspectives. And like I said, there are 2 other households here tonight that are going to speak after we're done. So on this petition, I just wanted to brief over with you, and there were several people that do not live in the area that sent in letters that would like me to read for them to represent their opinion based on the matter. But before I do that, real quick, just to reiterate some of the things that Dan said, we are very concerned with the runoff and water pollution, especially in the area where we live. On this first map here, you can see the property in question are these 5 parcels. This was my latest map because it was just redone into 2 parcels, but these 5 parcels. And then where the little blue dot is, that's our house. And there's a underground pipe that runs straight from that property into the lake. And that's the nook that we use to swim in. It's where our dock, that animal waste and whatever else waste would be put right into the lake, right where we swim, enjoy, as well as several other neighbors in just that immediate area. Never mind the visual impact, the air quality, the odor, the pest impact, all of that for people that are also living in the area. So I just wanted you to see that. Also on that first map, that is the entire Cypress Point and Hickory Bay subdivision. And you can see how many properties there are on there. And I did not have time to highlight and color code for you, but the other 3 maps, as I go through the petition, you can use to see how close in reference these people are that are on this petition to the property in question. So we have Tacey and Michael Perillo, and they have a letter. They both wanted to come tonight but had to work. They said, "Dear Newberry County Council, please do not allow the rezoning of 60 Cypress Point Road. My husband and I have lived at 725 Cypress Point Drive for the past 11 years. This is and was our dream lake property to continue the next phases of our lives. We pay approximately $3,800 in property tax and close to the same in taxes, automobile, boat, jet ski, motorcycle taxes, etc. This is our home, the place we love, the place we work, and to continue to maintain and improve and acquire home equity. We house 2 gainfully employed adults and a 3-year-old grandchild. This is a residential neighborhood where we watch out for each other and care about one another and expect to continue this quality of life in a single-family residential neighborhood. Please do not allow that to change. We brought this home with assurances that it was zoned residential with land stipulation of single-family homes on the lots that were not developed. I knew the property changed hands across from my home, but never thought that someone would try to change the zoning without proper notification of those who would be impacted. Changing the zoning to rural and allowing the placement of farm animals and/or a gun business feet from where my children and grandchildren play is unacceptable. It will have a serious detrimental impact on our property value and quality of life. We respectfully request that you maintain the integrity of our neighborhood by denying the request to rezone this to single-family residential area to R2. Sincerely, Michael and Tacey Perillo. And then we also have Richard and Miss Becky Basil, who are also here, so I'm going to let them speak as well. If you'll see on your map, you have myself and Dan Swenson, and these are all in chronological order on your maps. So we have Earl and Donna Johnson. We have Donna and Robert Safford, and they are also here and would like to speak as well, so I'll give them some time. We have Shane Hollifield, which on your map is Noble Company, LLC. We have Sherry and Greg, I'm sorry if you're watching, Sherry and Greg Mauritson, I think that's how you say it. Susan Longshore, Bonnie McCourty, Christopher Levesque, and Erica Levesque, Brad Swenson and Julie Swenson, and they also wrote a letter, which I will briefly read. Dear Newberry County Council, I recently purchased property at 78 Cypress Point Road in Chapel, South Carolina, and pay $1879.32 in yearly taxes this year, which will go up to 6% next year, estimated to be $36.60.11. 63, sorry, 60.11. Prior to purchasing, we drove around many areas for several years. We studied maps of the areas, researched adjacent properties, and happily settled on this property in Newberry County. Based on the views, the neighborhood, and the restrictions to not allow businesses or other activities, we prefer not to live right next to. We are upset to learn that the new owner of 60 Cypress Point Road, Chapel, South Carolina, part of Hickory Bay Subdivision Development and entrance to Cypress Point Subdivision, is requesting a change of zoning from single-family residence to R2. From our research of the area, it appears that there is endless land in the surrounding area that is designated as R2 that would be more suited to farm animals and gun training classes as proposed by the owner of this land. It would seem more appropriate to purchase land in an established R2 area rather than request longtime neighbors and property owners to accept a significant change in their neighborhood. By asking the county to allow a change of zoning in established subdivision simply to meet their desires for a business they are considering, they are asking all neighbors to also welcome what would be a significant change of lifestyle and property value depending on what business they pursue or any owner thereafter choose to do with R2 land in an established single-family subdivision. We have had the unfortunate experience of owning another property in Newberry where we improved the property greatly and then had owners start storing crashed, rusting vehicles along the property line, one, then another, and another, and another. All of the money and work we did to improve our property was diminished by our neighbor deciding to expand his junk car business to his home property next door to us. It felt very defeating and sad. We are not open for a repeat of that experience, and our goal is to cherish, improve, and make more beautiful any space we own and to respect our neighbors in Newberry County. We respectfully ask that you deny the rezone of 60 Cypress Point Road from single-family residential to R2. Thank you. We appreciate your time and consideration of this matter. Brad and Julie Swenson. Moving on with the petition, William and Linda Cordes. And there's also, if you want to hand that, I only have one copy of that, but you can pass that around if you like. These are all of the R2, which I know you guys know your own code, but I needed a refresher also. And these are all of the things that if this property were changed to R2 could happen. Some are, they're color coded with the permitted, the conditional, and the special conditions. But that to this community is the biggest point. It's not even the immediate effects that we had just talked about, it's also these long-term effects. And so we graciously plead with you to not change it. Did you guys have questions?
Any questions? Donna Safford and Bob Safford, do y'all want to come together or individually or?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not, as you know, I have trouble hearing sometimes. I thought I heard you reference several times a map.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It might be in the back.
It should be in the back of your packet.
I don't know.
I don't see one.
My
I don't
packet's
have
the
one.
only one,
No,
but
it
I don't
doesn't.
see any
There's
map
not
that
one.
you've referenced.
I'm very familiar with this area. It jogged my memory just to make sure that I'm in the right place going through there. Isn't there a church right around the curve from this property as well?
You go past the property, there's a church.
On the left, if you're coming from the Greenwood side, isn't that right? Okay. Yes.
I'm sorry. I was printing these out about 1 hour before we got here.
Reader's got one in his.
Oh, some have and some don't. Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't have a map, but we've got stuff up.
Just highlight some of where the property owners are that were involved.
You guys got one?
I'll just look at his right quick.
I see it.
Mostly
Sorry.
highlight the property owners involved, just to highlight their relevance to the property in question, and that they are members of Cypress Point and Hickory Bay subdivisions. And again, just their relevance to the property and the impact. Thank you guys so much again.
Now, your land's where? Give me that
Sir?
again. Your land's before the church or after the church?
It's before the church, if you're coming, off of 34,
Right.
you come, you do the little snake there.
Right.
It opens up, this land is right there on the left before you get to that church, about a half mile before you get to the church, this land is right there on the left.
The left.
Yes, sir.
If you're coming from the Greenwoods, if you're coming from Buzzard Drew side.
Yeah,
You turn in there, and the church is on the right, and they're on the left.
yes, sir.
So right here, where this is, these are the parcels here.
You're
And
coming in,
this is where the dam is.
you're coming in from 34 right here.
Right.
And you go right,
And y'all own that land now?
yeah, so you go right on this road right here and, you know, that house right there. And this is the property in question. Part of these subdivisions.
Sorry, Mary, I would have emailed it to you. Did you need me to email that to her?
Yes, it would be nice.
Oh, you were the prior owner of this land?
Sir?
Did you know the prior owner?
No, it's a landowner that still owns land in the subdivision, but she does not live there. She lives, yeah, so we do not know that.
And the area across the road that you were speaking of, somebody go back to the microphone for me just so I can make sure everybody hears. The area across the road from there is, although agriculture is trees and lease for deer hunting is my understanding. Is that
Yes, sir,
correct?
it is all,
So it's not a farmland by any
right, and that's why, I mean, personally, I deem it passive agriculture. I mean, it's long-term investment timberland. That entire track and some Duke Power and gas
Some
lines go through there.
Major power lines go through there.
Yep,
yes.
yep, and it's all leased out for hunting land and whatnot.
Gotcha. He sold it. Bubba sold all that,
No, he used to own it.
yeah. One of the local attorneys used to own all that land, but I believe he's, Eugene Griffith, well, I'm sorry, not an attorney, more a circuit court judge used to own all that land. I believe it was his mother's.
Okay. Any other questions for Danielle or Dan?
Yeah. Okay. I left some land over too. You all right?
All right, this time Donna and Bob Safford.
Yes, hi.
Can you state your address too for the records?
615 Cypress Point Drive. We are directly across the street from the parcel in question. So anything that happens there is going to directly impact us. The letters were very eloquent, and they sum up exactly the way I feel. I've lived there for 12 years. We've worked hard to improve the property, and it is our retirement income. Anything that is going to reduce the value of that property is taking money out of my pocket, and I don't like it. The smells of a farm are certainly not very pleasant. I can't imagine having a picnic on a nice warm summer day with that odor wafting across the yard. I'm also concerned about the pollution. I swim in that lake. I called the lake management office. They said, what you do with the land is not up to us, but if you do see runoff, let us know right away. And there's no way that there can't be runoff because of the slope of the land. Everything drains to the lake. So noise pollution, the smells, the noise, yeah, like what else? What am I missing?
I don't know.
I get nervous when I speak in public, excuse me. Anyway, I really hope you do not approve this change. Do you have anything to add?
Right, and I agree that it would be very difficult for us to have something like that across the street from us, impacting us perhaps most of all the neighbors because of where we are. We see directly into that property. So just to reiterate, I'm hoping that you won't approve this.
I have one more thing to say. If the land purchaser clearly knew that she wanted a rural lifestyle, why did she buy a residential lot? And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Any questions? None? Okay. Richard Basil and Rebecca Basil?
Good evening. My name is Richard Basil. I live at 721 Cypress Point Drive. First, I'd like to say thank you for your time and allowing us to speak here tonight. I'll keep this very brief. It's not going to be long. I'm in opposition. I'm opposing this request for rezoning of this land. My property is located immediately across the street from where this property is. Okay, and like the others have said, everything drains down towards the lake, which would come right across our property area. I think if you looked at the map, there is a drainage, even they called it a floodplain at one time. I don't know if the topographical map still shows that, but between Dan's property and my property, that line goes down through there. At one point in time was listed as a flood area, so that all that water goes right from the property to across the street, across our property, right on into the lake. Okay, and I've been in Cypress Point subdivision since 1991. My home was the second house built in that subdivision, and it was zoned residential when I bought it. That's why I bought it. If it had been zoned rural, I wouldn't have bought it. And like most other people, my home is my major investment, and I think that the rezoning of this property would devalue the property in both subdivisions, Hickory Bay and Cypress Point. And I would urge you to not rezone this to rural. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you. And my wife agrees with me. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions for Richard? No. Thank you, Mr. Bass.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, this is the second reading. We already got a motion with second with discussion. Any other questions or comments regarding this?
I would just say we don't have property in that immediate area, but we've got some family property up in Holloway Cove Road, and knowing that area, I think this is as I said when I made the motion for the first time, I think this was just to get it to a hearing. I think this is inconsistent with the use there, so that would be my comment.
My comment is it was platted as a subdivision, which was a rural, residential subdivision. It has stick-built homes, and we would be going backwards and devaluing it to go back for rural. Rural. And no matter what, it's still going to be a part of that subdivision. Even if it's platted together, it's still a part of that subdivision.
Other comments, other questions? All right, second reading, do all in favor of moving it to, or passing the second reading?
I just,
Okay, yes.
one question. The owner of the property is not here to speak in favor. I remember receiving an email. Did that email explain why they would not be here? Do you?
I don't, but I guess, Les, kind of going where you're going with this, and just for clear transparency of this situation, I would say we may be better off voting again, because the third reading is when public hearing is typically allowed, where people may think, well, if I need to go, I need to go on third reading. I'm not saying I'm in favor of this, I'm just saying for the opportunity for giving every citizen the right to at least voice their concern one way or the other. But I mean, you know, that's at council's discretion.
That's why I asked the question, because I do remember receiving an email, and that email, very similar to this evening.
I think we can get some help from our staff here.
She called this morning, she had babysitter issues or something, but the email that she sent, from what I've read, and she told me, she went around and got some, folks to sign on her behalf. So that email was, residents in the area that were okay with the rezoning to Archie.
That's why I brought the question up, just in fairness to those that are here that have opposed it, to have a number of people, neighbors that oppose it. If there's, whoever's proposing it has a number of people that are in favor of it. That's why maybe we ought to let it go to third reading and public hearing to allow both sides to be heard. It could be argued that, you know, the other side had an opportunity to be here and weren't, and that's why I asked too that question, so.
But if you look at the dynamics of our government, third reading is when public hearing typically is.
That's right.
And with that being said, I mean, I understand, again, not saying that I agree with the change, I'm just saying to give everybody the opportunity of the way that it's currently designed to hear. Another thing that, Daniel, didn't I hear you say 21 people that you had here? I guess my thing is I'd like to know exactly how many parcels is in that total, both subdivisions.
29 at Cypress Point, and I have the plots for all of them.
If we could get that by the next meeting, I hate to have you count it right now, but if just by the next meeting, so we'll have all the facts, you can shoot it out to us right quick or something that's.
And, you know, please don't misunderstand my questions as, again, whether or not I'm in favor or opposed to this. I kind of tend to be opposed to it. However, I just feel like we ought to have third, you know, public hearing.
Okay. All right, all in favor of second reading at this time, say aye. Or raise your hand, I guess. It's 4 in favor, all opposed.
All in second reading right now?
Yes, yes.
I am for it.
You in favor of second reading, moving to third reading?
Yes.
Okay, and then, all right, then all opposed? Scurry and, okay, Mr. Johnson opposed. And again, in clarification, not saying that we're in favor of it, just to let government really take its process of having the 3 readings and public hearing, which is what we kind of got our form of government set up for.
I think that's probably wise in the scheme of things.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, item number 7, Resolution 0921, a resolution adopting the All Natural Hazards Risk Assessment and Mitigation Plan for the Central Midlands Region of Government. Do we have a motion to adopt this resolution? Motion by Mr. Reader, second by Mr. Hipp. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Item number 8, Resolution 1021, a resolution to establish Newberry County Council's procedures and criteria for considering and recommending projects for the Capital Project Sales Tax Commission for inclusion in the 2022 sales tax and ballot questions, sales and use tax ballot questions. Do we have a motion for this resolution? Motion by Mr. Reader, second by Mr. Shealy. Any discussion on this one?
This is something that you and I discussed briefly before the meeting, Buddy. There's several, I'm not opposed to the resolution, but there's a number of actions contained in this resolution that should require council vote and approval of. So I think we've got, and I'll point out a couple of them. By November 17th, we're to select the firm to determine project pricing for submissions to council. Have we already gone out for quote for that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hipp and members of council, we have, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and Karen can correct me, but I believe that that item is coming back to you at the next meeting, Karen?
Indeed, I don't have a full agenda packet with me, but it will be back prior to, Crystal has sent out the RFP, it is available. It will be back for evaluation to present to you on the 17th, the firm that is recommended to do the engineering cost.
Okay, that was, my question was, because I knew this is a short timeline, had we gone out for bid on
It's not a
that?
bid, it's a
Well,
request for proposal.
quote, proposal.
Yes, sir.
That was my,
In the agenda.
on the,
meeting,
on the closest,
packet, it explains all of that.
on the closest date, that was, you know, November 17th was upcoming. I just wanted to make sure that we'd already gotten that.
All right. So with that being said, we've got a motion, we've got a second. All in favor of the resolution? Mary?
Yes,
It's unanimous. Thank you for raising your hand, but just because of you being there, we got to have the vote.
I know.
And I'm sorry.
I know. Let me
Alrighty.
ask, let me go back to number 6. I thought we voted to go ahead and vote tonight for second reading.
We did. We will have third reading next meeting.
Okay.
That clear as mud, or?
Clear as mud, because I wasn't voting for it, and I thought second reading, we were gonna, you voted to go ahead and have the second reading or not, or postpone it, and, so that wasn't what I thought I was voting on, but, anyway.
Well, we will have a final, obviously a third and final vote on the next meeting, so I mean, anything can change at that point.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 9, executive session, part 1, code section 30-4-70, discussion of negotiation and proposal, contractual arrangements, and proposed sale or purchase of property, the receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to pending, threatening, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, settlement of legal claims, or the position of the public agency in other adversary situations involving this assertion against the agency of a claim, discussion of matters incident of the proposed contractual arrangements and related to the proposed location, expansions, or the provisions of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the public body. This is for Project Sunrise, TMS number 397-26, which is and also the Kavanaugh track. So those are the two items. Do we have a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Mr. Hipp, second by Mr. Reader. All in favor of executive session? It is unanimous. We will go into executive session. Thanks, Mary.
before we do that. She never left. Mr. Chairman, Newberry County Council went into executive session for the reasons stated, which basically deal with land transfer. There was no action taken in that session.
All right. Who would like to report out of executive session?
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
I think you did.
Yeah. Who would make?
I'll report out. County Council went into executive session in accordance with Code Requirements 30-4-7 Alpha 2 for the discussion of, and I won't go into reiterating the whole code, but we took no action in executive session, and we're now through with executive session on those two issues.
All right, now, who would like to make a motion regarding that in open session? Mr. Shealy?
I'll make a motion to have first reading of ordinance 10-26-21, an ordinance approving the transfer of certain properties located in Newberry County and by the county.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Reader. Any discussion? All in favor? Mary?
Aye.
Okay. All right, other business that was discussed, and what are the recommendations?
Second item that I'd like to, for consideration, would be to direct our county administrator to proceed with the sale of county property number TMS 397-26, also known as Kavanaugh Tract.
All right, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Reader. Any discussion? All in favor? Mary?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, executive session part 2, code section 30-4-70A1, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee, a student, or a person regulated by a public body, or the appointment of a person to a public body. However, if an adversary hearing involving the employee or client is held, the employee or client has the right to demand that the hearing be conducted publicly. Nothing contained in this item shall prevent the public body in its discretion from deleting the name or names of other employees or clients whose records are submitted for use at the hearing. Do we have a motion to go back into executive session? Motion by Mr. Hipp, second by Mr. Scurry. All in favor? Mary?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go back into executive session.
Melvin and whoever's with them need to come down. I'll go tell them they're sitting in the conference.
Ready? All right, who wants to report out? Mr. Hill, you want?
Mr. Chairman, County Council went into executive session under Code Section 30-4-70A1 for discussion of employment issues. I won't read the full definition of that code section. We came out of executive session with no action being taken.
All right, with that being said, appointments. Do we have any appointments for the night?
Just the one that was presented.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we appoint Stephen Taylor to the South Carolina Works Board.
All right, got Stephen Taylor, South Carolina Workforce Development Board. We got a motion by Mr. Hipp, second by Mr. Reader. Any discussion? All in favor? Mary?
Aye.
Okay. Public comments. I think I have the sheet here, but did you want to speak, Pat? I heard you wanted to speak. Okay, please come to the podium. State your name, address, please.
Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to come before y'all tonight to speak. I got the executive section part 1 where y'all discussed the Cavanaugh track. Chairman, is that the one that located out here on 34 in the Riley Road type deal?
Yes.
Okay. And when y'all came out, I'll ask the speaker over here that done the representing for y'all, how many acres is in this tract of land?
I don't recall the exact number of acres. Do you remember?
I think it's somewhere around 119, 120.
I was thinking 112, 119.
I was thinking 112, but I may be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, then this track here, what is it classified in the for on that piece of property? The
You talking about zone?
zone, yeah, the zone. What is zone for? Is it zone for resident houses or what's? I know y'all discussed all this, but I'm just asking a few questions. What's on the map showing what this piece of property is going to be?
I don't have that knowledge right now.
Okay, I'm just asking a few questions. Y'all had a meeting and stuff, so you might want to think about some of these questions I might be asking. And one more question, I think this is Cavanaugh, and I might be wrong, but I think I might be right, but I think I'm right. This was some land that gave into the county somehow or another. Okay, and I know y'all got y'all attorney gonna be doing the checking and stuff into it, and I don't know if they got in, since y'all don't know what it's zoned for, type deal, is it commercial houses, or whatever it happened to be, citizen of Newberry County would probably like to know, what is kind of going to be going on out there whenever that time comes. Plus, what the family, when they gave the property to y'all, what did they say can go out there on it?
Okay, let's go.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm just asking.
all you got to do is go to the county's zoning map for that piece of parcel, and the parcel number is given on here to be TMS 397-24. And if you go to the...
26.
Pardon?
It says 26 on our paper.
26,
Yeah, 397-26.
Yes.
And if you go to the county's zoning, you'll be able to see what zone and what the current usage for that zone would be.
I just asked some.
Yeah,
I'm just asking questions because I've got a few ounces. A family gave it to y'all. I don't, some people special say what can be built on it and stuff like that, and what it's zoned for.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but I think y'all got a meeting come up here next week on this piece of property. Y'all might can discuss some of these questions that I might have asked.
Mr. Costa.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Pat, just to let you know, this is, if it gets sold, it'll have to go through 3 readings and a public hearing. It's not on another agenda at this point. This is the agenda that it's on. The one next week doesn't have anything to do with the Kavanaugh tract.
I'm just saying, whatever, you know,
Yeah, I'm
what
just-
might come up. I'm just kind of, just asking.
And just as far as the giving, it wasn't give as a gift, it was traded for some
Trade
other
off
financial
things.
consideration.
I might not said it
Gotcha.
properly right.
No, I just want to make sure
But
you're
I'm
clear on
just,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
get in front of y'all and talking, but
Yeah.
it wasn't, it was somehow or another.
Yes, it was a trade more than it was.
So,
'Cause some
I'm just
people-
asking a few questions that, you know, might,
And I don't think there was any stipulations put on the parcel probably when it was traded for.
trade or whatever, or however it was done.
And the other thing is, on the end of the sale of this piece of property, the purchaser has to do the due diligence. It's not for the county to go out and do the due diligence. Whoever is the purchaser will have to do the due diligence to find out what actually can go on there. Obviously, it is on the website. You can see what is allowed out there. But, again, just like tonight in one of the previous items where somebody's wanting you to get it changed, it'd probably be highly advisable to have all due diligence done and know what is allowed prior to purchasing or trying to get the adjustments made for what you want to put on there if you were to purchase it. But,
That's, you know, that's another thing too, you know, that's what I'm,
so it really is.
so
not-
whoever's doing this stuff, or they need to check.
Yes.
They need to check.
That's right.
We're selling a product. They need to do their due diligence.
So, now, so 2 of my questions went in the previous of the earlier meeting, and also this in here too. Thank you.
Good, good. Thank you for asking questions, Pat.
Yeah. Comments or requests from the county administrator, Mr. Tony?
Nothing else from me, Mr. Chairman.
All right, comments from council members, Mr. Scurry,
Nothing at all.
Mr. Reader,
Nothing.
Mr. Johnson,
Pass.
Ms. Arrowood.
Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but anyway, I'm thankful we do have the Zoom now.
Okay. Mr. Hip? No. Mr. Shealy?
Proud to be here tonight in Wisconsin. One more trip.
Proud to have you here.
Go.
Again, this is one of our longer meetings, folks. Thanks you for your patience and desire to serve Newberry County with regardless how many hours it takes to make it happen. So thank y'all. I've got really nothing else to say either. We're looking at future meetings. Public Works and Planning, I think it was agreed upon by the committee if we could move that meeting to 5:30 on November 1st. And instead of having a special, I think it's only one item on that. November 3rd? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Personnel and Intergovernmental is November 1st.
Right.
And then move that one, Public Works and Planning, to November 3rd at 5:30 prior to council meeting, since there's only one item on the Public Works and Planning Committee.
So that would be on the.
Public Works will go to the county council meeting at 5:30.
Regular council meeting.
Am I correct on that, folks?
Yes.
Okay.
Only one item on the agenda. so.
Yes. All right. With that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Scurry, second by Mr. Shealy. All in favor? It's unanimous. We are adjourned.